Hi there, I'm the Sink Weaver, and this is something I wanted to do for a long time now. You see, I have this video from like a year ago talking about being a good tank on one game. The problem with that is that it was on one game, and the video's old, and it's shit. I will admit that I may have been kind of green, inexperienced, and majorly sarcastic during most of that video, but I'm going to rectify that by being professional, having proper experience, and being even more sarcastic. This video isn't just going to be about one MMORPG, because why focus on one game when other games out there also have tanky characters and classes, and people are somehow fucking that up as well. I'll be listing some guidelines that will guarantee you to becoming a good tank.
Use discretion advised.
So let's try this again. This is How to Be a Good Tank 2.0. First, let's ask a question. Do you have aggro, hate, or taunt in your game? Learn the fuck out of it. Facing, you ain't getting far if all you know is hitting this thing, hitting that thing, hitting everything. You're not gonna get far. The most important thing a tank, all tanks should know, is what will make them the most popular person in the room, or the most hated. Either or, I'll take whatever. So go on, ham it up, man. That grotesque monster over there is just shy. Go ahead and give her a tap. She'll greet you with warm smiles and open arms. And perhaps a few rape-tastic friends. Any game that has an aggro system may just be worth your time to learn. You're a tank! You revolve around knowing aggro. Having hate is your job. There shouldn't be any reason for you not to know this. Unless you're a dick. Are you a dick? I certainly hope not. I want to explain what I meant by hitting that thing and hitting this thing with the tank. 100% of the time, they're going to be hitting something with their abilities, whether it's magic or physical. But what I'm trying to say, at the end of the day, the battlefield is being controlled by the tank. They're going to be hitting something or someone or everything. That's what they're supposed to do. But if they don't have control of the battlefield, the tank is not really doing their job. And that's what I meant by hitting random things. They should be hitting it in some sort of order to have control. So, are you trying not to get hit there, Mr. Tank? Because, you are a damage sponge. So, what you doing over here? Tanks need to learn that getting hit is part of the job description. I've seen tanks that don't get hit at all because, game mechanics. This is only in some games, so it's not in all games. But most of the time, you're a sponge for war. Tanks need to learn to like it. Like when I go see my master in a secret sex dungeon under my house. What? Don't you have a sex dungeon under your house? With a master who treats you like a pet? No? Alright. You can forget what you heard about that. Nobody needs to know about that.
Nobody needs to know about that.
So in my experience, tanks only do so much damage, and I think it's because you do not deal as much damage as the DPS. Well, you shouldn't. So other games have tanks dealing a lot of damage. So what? Most of the time it's not like that. Tanks would be doing a limited amount of damage and in respect would be dealing more aggro. That's how a tank should be. That's how a tank usually is. So why do I always get people coming to me asking,
Tank! Why are you a low damage dealer?
Or when some people come at me with,
Why can't tanks have a high damage output like DPS as well?
because you're a fucking tank! You don't do damage! They do! So I was gonna go into this whole spiel on how tanks should be tanks and a DPS should be a DPS, but then I realized there are a variety of games where tanks actually do a hell of a lot of damage because they put all their aspect into being a damage dealing tank. Meanwhile, tanky tanks, the ones who put all their aspect into tanking, are also trying to deal a lot of damage, which don't make sense to me in my opinion. See, if you're going to be a damage dealer tank, then yes, go for it. You'll be a secondary tank if needed. But if you're going to be a tanky tank, with defense and health all being aspected into there, then you shouldn't be focusing on doing a lot of attack damage, but rather just being the main tank and just surviving. And that's just my opinion. So, did you know tanks are seen as leaders in most groups? Yeah, they are! Though they may not be the leader of the group, they sure as hell have to act like one. So if you see anyone in front of you in a dungeon, you're not being a good leader. Be a good leader and lead the party. It's a part of your job. This goes in hand for all you DPS and healers out there. Let the tank take the front line, or perhaps you like getting hit. I don't know, maybe you're a masochist. You never know if the tank may be, AFK, and you go up ahead and you look stupid because you're getting hit by something and the tank is still AFK. You idiot. So let me paint you a scenario. You just got in a queue after waiting like 13 minutes. Would have been better if it was like 20, right? And you're all getting ready to do this dungeon, right? You're all popping your buffs, summoning your pets, and the healer's dishing out the defense. Now the tank goes ahead and puts up his defensive stance. We're all good, right? We're all ready to go. And then they pop a cooldown right away and start running off. Why would they do that? I mean, popping a cooldown when there's nobody around? Did I miss something? Did Cthulhu conjure himself in front of me and I missed it? We just got into the dungeon. That cooldown could have been used for something way more important. Luckily, I only see new people do this, but it has to be said, popping a cooldown at the beginning of the dungeon isn't just wrong, it pisses me off. And I know it's a pet peeve that's based on my opinion, but I can't be the only one with that opinion, right? Now I want you to look at this person. She's such a beautiful person, wearing white and looking like a goddess. You know why? Because she is. And not only that, but she's your best friend. Take for example a certain duo in Team Fortress 2. The heavy medic combo that's like in every game you ever play. This is a perfect example of how you should be with your healer. They are your best friend, and if anyone needs your protection, it's the healer. Never mind the fact that she's a god and holds your very fate in the palm of her hands.
Lesson number 6. You are a god. Remember, you hold the power to life, and thereby indirectly hold the power to death as well. Feel free to use this responsibility as loosely as possible. Tell your group this often. They're not listening anyway. Let someone die just to let them know you're serious. Make them fear you and beg for mercy each and every battle. Make them aware of what a petty and vengeful god you are.
Other than that, she's your best friend. Now remember to present your sacrifice by 8 o'clock tonight.
And don't be late.
Oh my god, we're surrounded, the DPS is down, and I'm overwhelmed. What do we do? Well, pop your ult! If all else fails, pop that ult! Not doing it is the same thing as quitting, and we don't like quitters. So pop that ult and possibly save someone. Or yourself. Anyone. Just do it. It'll help, trust me. By the way, if you don't know what an ult is, it's short for ultimate, meaning your ultimate skill. The skill that takes the most time to cool down usually has an awesome effect that may turn the tides of war. Quick side note, Final Fantasy XIV's Dark Knight has a shitty ult. It just had to be said. It's really bad. They should really fix that. Now I want you to look at this and tell me what you see wrong. You see what I see? Yes, your teammates aren't in front of you while taking on a boss. Now, Now, I'm not sure I could get the proper footage for this, I'm kind of perfect, but I think you get what I'm saying. Normally in MMOs, when a boss is met, the tank runs up, aggroes it, and turns it around. If you, as the tank, don't see your teammates for whatever reason, it means they're either to your side, which may be a good thing, behind the boss because it has a fat ass, which is also a good thing, or they're behind you. That's a bad thing. Seeing your teammates is a good way in knowing that they're okay. Because besides that, they could be right behind you getting all the damage that was meant for you. Or they could be dead. Don't let them be dead, because that's also a bad thing. So in 14, we have these things called signs. You can access them in the party tab that's in your menu bar. You can set them up to mark enemies in order of numbers. And in my case, make it a macro to help keep the party focused. Why am I saying this? Because this is a way of communication between the party. Like it or not, everyone's important to the team, and having a focus can make the dungeon run, or arena, or basic shooters a whole lot easier to play through. In many cases, the tank will need a DPS to keep their fucking focus on one enemy. The same enemy you and the other DPS are hard at work at trying to kill. Or perhaps both the DPS are fighting their own enemies. You switch to one of them, only for both of them to switch to another random mob that you're not targeting, acting like you could kill that one mob on your own. Like, why do they think that'll work? Why do they think being so spread out makes the dungeon run any faster than it's given? Listen, when you see a DPS going on an enemy by themselves, please, for God's sake, tell them it could go so much smoother if they just focus down one enemy at a time. It works! Don't get me wrong, there are AoE spamming moments, but that's so far and in between, and it endangers the DPS if they hit so fucking hard. Like, they build hate upon hit. They aren't going to kill that thing fast enough if for some reason, I don't know, maybe you can't see past the fucking crowd. Can you see where my DPS is? Because if you do, please tell them to stop playing Where's Waldo and help me kill this thing. Point is, communicate with your team. That's all. Without it being so fucking obvious, if you die, they all die. A tank is called a tank because they are literally a steel wall that soaks up damage. If the tank breaks down, there's no cover for any soldier to hide behind. This is the same for tanks in almost all games. If you die, your team is soon to follow. So don't die. You are the wall, and we do not need walls breaking down today. Hey! Put that hammer down. And last, and I'm really sorry to say this, but if being a tank is too hard for you, then you have two options. Find a better class or find a better way to be a tank. Notice I didn't say quit, I'm not that negative. But seriously, if being a tank is too tough for you, trying again and trying harder is an option, or perhaps it's just not your thing. I believe there's a role for everyone who plans to play a game that has a tank, a DPS, a healer, or support. Finding which one is all about the journey. I didn't start out being a tank lover, I just wanted to hit things, but then I grew up from being an obnoxious kid to an even more obnoxious adult, and I realized I like protecting people. And this is the same for all games that I play. If it has a tank class in it, I'll explore it, and perhaps it stems from me wanting to be a hero, but being a hero doesn't mean you have to be a tank. A DPS can be a hero, healer can definitely be a hero, not sure about support, pretty hard for them to become heroes. But test your class, whether they be any of the 4 categories that I just mentioned. No, I think there's only 4 of them anyway. You can be whatever you want, just try to become them. Integrate with them. Assimilate with them. Become one. Hey, just remember the guidelines. Remember that you are the one that's supposed to keep the hate, you're the one who's supposed to get hit, you're the one who's supposed to soak the damage and not really dish out the damage. Whether it's part of the mechanics or not, that's what a tank is. That's what they are. They're in a lot of games, and that's the world of tanking. And really, that's all there is to it. And to be honest, I don't think tanking is all that hard. It's just a matter of patience. Do you have enough patience to let your team do what they have to do while you're distracting the foe? That's pretty much what a tank is. But as always, I'm open to opinion and commentary. Was there something I missed? Was there something you wanted to add to the guideline? Do you agree or do you disagree? Leave it in the comments, I'm sure everybody would love to know. Or maybe you're all MOBA players ready to snipe my video for being shit. I'm going to guess the latter. But hey, here's hoping it doesn't come down to that. So as always, thanks for watching, and if you're new to my channel, then please go and look at my social media. And also, there's a Patreon page. Go check that out and become a Patreon, and maybe, perhaps, I will show your name in the video's end. Just like them down there. They're awesome people. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!